The Parliament this Thursday passed the SHANTI Bill, or the new nuclear bill. The bill paves way for private companies to enter the atomic or nuclear energy sector of India. It's a landmark bill, ladies and gentlemen. The bill proposes to repeal the Atomic Energy Act of 1962 and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. The bill primarily proposes to grant a license to private companies for operating nuclear plants, remove the existing contentious liability clause for suppliers of fuel and technology, rationalize the levels of payout by operators in case of accidents. You see, private companies can now construct, own, operate or decommission a nuclear power plant or a reactor in India. As per the rules, the company will have to obtain a license after safety authorization on radiation exposure. The bill allows any central government department, government company, private company, joint venture, or any person to undertake the setting up of such facilities after permission. Now, that's one part of the equation, which is development. But let's discuss the politics, timings, and the global context of this very important bill. You see, India has a target of generating 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047. But we are far off the pace. We produce only 8.8 gigawatt from 24 reactors across 7 nuclear stations currently, a fraction of what's required to achieve carbon neutrality by 2070 as well. Now, government agencies alone will never be able to reach this target at this pace. Merely letting private players in the door won't even do the trick. Getting anywhere near the 2047 target will require having a trained private workforce, predictable project timelines, standardized reactor designs, domestic manufacturing, and a commercial model, of course. The story gets interesting when you take America into the equation. You see, ladies and gentlemen, US nuclear suppliers have long campaigned against the old nuclear acts of India with the aggressive support of Washington. Now, this new law, which will facilitate US companies making multi-billion-dollar reactor sales, also comes against the backdrop of difficult trade negotiations with the Donald Trump administration, in which the latter has been demanding more business opportunities for American companies in India. Now, initially, in its earlier form, nuclear law had two laws which were bone of contention for the United States. Number one, Section 17B, which granted an Indian nuclear operator a right of recourse as far as compensation to its victims is concerned, basically a liability, where the nuclear incident has resulted as a consequence of an act of supplier or his employee, which includes supply of equipment or material with patent or latent defects, and of course substandard services. Now, number two was Section 46, which said that the operator of a nuclear plant would not be exempt from any proceeding which might, apart from this act, be instituted against such operator, which means that it allows the victims of an accident to sue the operator for damages. Now, while the SHANTI Bill, the new one, gives US nuclear suppliers a free pass in the event of an accident caused by defective equipment, it camouflages its diluted liability provisions within a new version of India's overarching atomic law, presumably in an attempt to avoid the political damage. At least that's what the bottom line is, which many analysts seem to understand. And this is the major reason behind the opposition of this bill in its current form.
Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act, उस पर भी आप यू टर्न कर रहे हैं. क्यों कर रहे हैं? क्या मजबूरी है? क्या अमेरिका के साथ रिश्ते और मजबूत करने हैं, इसीलिए आप कर रहे हैं? क्या प्राइवेट कंपनियां आपको मजबूर कर रहे हैं इसको संशोधन करने में? प्लीज सदन को विश्वास में लीजिए. क्यों 15 साल बाद आप ये संशोधन ला रहे हैं? सर, प्राइवेट सेक्टर तो तीसरा मुद्दा है इस बिल में. विकसित भारत में 100 गीगावाट न्यूक्लियर कैपेसिटी होगा. आज करीब 8 या 9 गीगावाट का है, यानी कि 10 गुना बढ़ेगा. मैं आपसे सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं, आपका नजरिया क्या है? आपका विजन क्या है? इसमें प्राइवेट सेक्टर कितना है और इसमें पब्लिक सेक्टर कितना होगा? और मेरा यह सीधा आरोप है कि यह बिल सिर्फ प्राइवेट सेक्टर कंपनियों के लिए ही है. निजी क्षेत्र का योगदान बढ़ाने के लिए है। तो मंत्री जी, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, हमारे देश में क्षमता है, हमने 220 मेगावाट की प्लांट लगाए हैं, 540 मेगावाट का प्लांट लगाया है, ककरापार में हमने 700 मेगावाट का प्लांट लगाया है। मैं आपसे गुजारिश करूंगा, 700 मेगावाट प्लांट को एक वर्क हॉर्स बनाइए, और जो रिएक्टर हैं फ्रांस, अमेरिका, इंग्लैंड, साउथ कोरिया, अलग अलग देशों से मत लाइए, जो हमारे देश में हम आत्मनिर्भर हैं। 700 मेगावाट का प्लांट हम लगा रहे हैं, गुजरात में लगा हुआ है, प्रधानमंत्री जानते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री वहां गए हुए हैं। उससे आप प्रेरणा लीजिए और स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन कराइए, ये वेंडर ड्रिवन बिल मत कराइए।
Liability of operators now is graded depending upon the size of a nuclear plant operated by such operator. For example, the liability of an operator who is operating a reactor having thermal power of 3600 megawatt is restricted to 3000 crores. And the liability of an operator who is operating a reactor having the thermal power of 150 megawatt is limited to 100 crores. A very important case in point here is American nuclear equipment company called Holtec. Now the company specializes in 300 megawatt small modular reactors. Small modular reactors, unlike traditional ones, don't need to be installed near large water bodies, making them suitable for electrifying inland industrial clusters or replacing decommissioned coal plants. Now Holtec, for a long period of time, has been planning to install 200 SMRs across India. They have just been in the news. And the passage of this bill is just a shot in the arm the company needed. Now, according to the new nuclear law, no civil court shall have jurisdiction to entertain any suit or proceedings in respect of any matter which the central government, board, the appellate tribunal, the claims commission, or the claims commissioner, as the case may be, is empowered to determine or adjudicate under this act. You see. But we need to also look towards the world. Countries like China are open to their investments in nuclear sector too. Nuclear power is essential for rail, electricity, hydropower, oil and gas, energy, and a lot more. Analysts observing this development feel that while the step will help India harness its nuclear capabilities, boost private investment, and will help many companies operating in the sector, which was even visible on the stock market yesterday with companies like NTPC and L&T trading in the green. But in order to become an economic superpower, India needs more capital in its nuclear sector, which will eventually boost its energy production. But liability and responsibility will remain a key concern in a politically sensitive country like India. So in case we are able to balance progress with protection, the bill seems to be working in India's favor.